What's up, YouTube? It is your Lord and Savior King D353 here with the results of the WWE Roadblock End of the Line pay-per-view. This pay-per-view started off with the pre-show match between Rusev and Big Cass. I actually did not see this match personally because I missed the entire pre-show. In fact, I would have missed the first hour of the pay-per-view for the fact that it could rewind. That aside, I did see the ending of the match thanks to the actual pay-per-view itself. And the match ended with Rusev going to escape through the crowd. Big Cass would go on to chase him, only for Rusev to U-turn and make it back to the ring before Big Cass. He'd kick Enzo Amore in the head, and then he'd go into the ring. As Big Cass came out, he stopped to look after Enzo, and as a result of that, he got counted out. Because of this, Rusev picks up the victory. The actual pay-per-view starts off with a match between the New Day and between the New Day and Cesaro and Sheamus. And I'd like to start this off by pointing out that Cesaro and Sheamus actually have their own little team entrance now. Their team entrance is basically, it starts off with Cesaro himself coming out to the ring like he normally would with his music and stuff. But it doesn't actually go into the, basically, it's hard to explain. Cesaro comes out with his music starting. Then as soon as Cesaro comes out, it instantly transitions into Sheamus' music. Sheamus then comes out, does his little fella thing, and Cesaro poses in a fella-ish state right next to Sheamus, and then they come to the ring to Sheamus' music. I don't know if that was a one-time thing, or if that's actually going to be their tag entrance. But if that was actually their tag entrance, it was a good tag entrance. Anyway, the actual match itself. As you guys know, my memory is horrible. Not really helped by the fact I was falling asleep near the tail end of this. So, rather than actually go into detail, I'm just going to go with the spots of the night. Spots of the night. So many false finishes! So many of them! So, as you guys know, normally when the New Day does the whole 3-on-1 thing, that's it, the match is over. Not tonight, because when the New Day did the whole 3-on-1 advantage thing, knocking out Sheamus, and then going on to have Big E launch Cesaro into their corner, where Xavier Woods, who wasn't even in the match, goes up and kicks Cesaro's skull in, and then hits him with the big ending. 1, 2, kick out. So for the first time ever, a triple threat assault on the Cesaro and not on Cesaro and Sheamus. A triple threat assault from the New Day fails. So that was something. There was another failed attempt at a false victory by the New Day where Xavier Woods would come into the ring and straight up push Kofi out of the way of Sheamus' brogue kick. After pushing Kofi out of the way of the brogue kick, Kofi goes to roll up Sheamus. 1, 2, kick out. Second time Xavier interfering did not get New Day to win. There was also a false finish on Cesaro and Sheamus' side, where Sheamus went out of his way to bro kick Big E on the outside. Then Cesaro did the swing to sharpshooter combination on Kofi Kingston. And as Kofi was tapping, Xavier Woods managed to distract the referee, making it so that the match continued on even longer. The match's actual end comes with Big E taken out, and luckily, was Big E taken out? Yeah, Big E was taken out. I believe Xavier Woods was perfectly fine. I don't remember for sure. But basically, the legal men were Kofi Kingston and Sheamus. Sheamus goes over to Cesaro for the hot tag, and Cesaro pulls his hand away before Sheamus could actually get the tag in. For a second there, everybody thought, is he betraying Sheamus? What's going on? Cesaro then goes in and rushes at Kofi Kingston. Kofi ducks Cesaro's quote-unquote attack that was never actually meant to hit, and gets hit with his trouble in paradise for his troubles. Kofi goes for the pin on Cesaro, but Sheamus dashes forward, knocks Kofi over, and ends up pinning Kofi in a honestly weird spot. But the point is, Kofi Kingston, thanks to what Cesaro did, thought Cesaro was the legal man, but in reality, it was still Sheamus, because Sheamus never got tagged in. So Sheamus gets that cheeky little pin in that honestly should not have pinned Kofi, but whatever. 1, 2, 3. And your new tag team champions, Cesaro and Sheamus. The New Day didn't get the tag titles. They're huddled up. They look legit depressed. Then they come into the ring, and begrudgingly Big E and, for some reason, Xavier Woods hand over the titles. They hold it out. Cesaro goes on to hug them, and Sheamus is like, yeah, fuck this, and just grabs the towel from them. Sheamus celebrates in the ring. Cesaro hangs out with the C-section. Seriously, the Cesaro section is the dumbest name for your fans ever. Why are you making a reference to C-sections, you idiots? Oh, and for those of you who haven't realized it, yes, the Cesaro section is a reference to the Caesarean section. That aside, Cesaro and Sheamus win. Sheamus is being treated like a heel for some reason, even though he turned face. And the New Day was acting respectful, even though they're basically the most heelish heels to ever heel a heel. But, c'est la vie. Now, the next match of the night, I believe, was Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman. I'm honestly super duper fuzzy on the order of the matches. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see. Let me double check. Yeah, actually I'm right. The next match of the night is actually Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman. I'm going to be pissed off if I had the right order from the beginning. Yeah, I had the right order from the beginning. I just wasted everyone's time even bothering to check. My apologies. The next match of the night is Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman in a 10-minute time limit match. Now, I'm pretty sure most everybody assumed that if the 10-minute time limit passed, that it would be a draw. But it turns out the actual rule is that if the 10-minute time limits pass, Sami Zayn wins. Braun Strowman has to beat him in those 10 minutes to win. The match starts off with Sami Zayn dodging Braun Strowman's attacks and basically doing a nice cruiserweight offensive, doing his mid-air drop kick and Hurricane Rana-ing Braun Strowman. But in the end, Braun Strowman gets the advantage, and he starts beating the piss out of Sami Zayn until about 3 minutes and 40 seconds are left on the clock. Mick Foley comes out with a towel to throw in for Sami. Then Braun goes, yeah, throw it in, save him. Then he throws Sami out of the ring. He climbs out of the ring, stares down Mick Foley. You can end this, Mick. You can end his torturing. Throw in the towel, Mick. Throw it in. Then Sami Zayn comes back and he begs Mick not to do it. And after Sami Zayn finally gets his wind back, he gets up, grabs the towel, and launches it into the crowd. And then Braun Strowman knocks him down before going, I told you, Mick. You could have ended this. You could have saved him. Then he picks Sami Zayn up, about to lawn dart him into the post. But Sami Zayn reversals, shoving Braun Strowman into the post. Sami Zayn then crawls away, and Braun Strowman is staggered for a while. Sami Zayn then rushes on the barricade where Braun Strowman goes to tackle him. Sami Zayn dodges, and Braun Strowman puts himself for the barricade. Sami Zayn runs into the ring. Braun Strowman just barely makes the 9 count back in after him, and Sami Zayn hits him with the haluva kick. Time runs out, and Braun's still standing after the haluva kick, by the way. But because time ran out, Sami Zayn ends up winning the match, which is stupid. A timeout should be a draw, but whatever. I guess the point of the match was that Braun said he could beat him in 2 minutes, see if he can actually beat him in 10. And he didn't, so Sami Zayn beats Braun Strowman via timeout. I guess. Next match of the night, we have Chris Jericho versus Seth Rollins. Spots. Jericho does his triangle dropkick to Seth Rollins as he's trying to springboard into the ring. Kevin Owens comes out to help Chris Jericho, but after Seth Rollins kicks out of Jericho's roll-up, yeah, it was a roll-up. After Seth Rollins kicks out Jericho's roll-up, Chris Jericho notices Kevin Owens, yells at him, and Kevin Owens immediately goes back. Doesn't stay and argue this time, which makes sense. I mean, if you realize you staying and arguing will just distract him more, you leave. So Kevin leaves immediately, and Jericho spends way too much time going, "Go away! I don't need you! I don't need you!" So then Chris Jericho turns around. He's about to get pedigreed. He reversals it, launching Seth behind him. Goes for the codebreaker. Seth catches him in the codebreaker, similar to how Dean Ambrose did it. And also similar to how Dean Ambrose did it. He then throws him out of the codebreaker stance into a pedigree stance. Pedigree, 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins beats Chris Jericho. Sorry for not going over many spots, but really there wasn't much spots to tell. Seth Rollins got the walls of Jericho like twice. That's really about it. Anyway, next match of the night, we have a triple threat match for the Cruiserweight Championship. Rick Swan versus TJ Perkins versus Brian Kendrick. Spots. Both Brian Kendrick and Rick Swan managed to get out of TJ Perkins' knee bar, less by getting out themselves and more by Rick Swan interfering when it came to Brian Kendrick. And luckily, no, both cases it was the other competitor knocking TJ Perkins out of the knee bar. That is a really stupid finisher, by the way. Anyway, other spots. Rick Swan does a double Hurricane Rana to both Brian Kendrick and TJ Perkins. Other than that, not much for spots. Let's go to the end of the match. The match ends with TJ Perkins locking the knee bar on Rick Swan. And as Rick Swan gets to the bottom rope, which didn't matter because it's a triple threat match, there are no disqualifications. TJ Perkins, for some reason, decides to let go of the hold. Rick Swan gets up and they start brawling, punching each other. And then as Brian Kendrick runs into the ring, they both super kick him at the same time, knocking him out of the ring. And then immediately Rick Swan does a roundhouse kick to the jaw of TJ Perkins. 1, 2, 3. Rick Swan retains. And as Rick Swan's celebrating, we suddenly hear Neville's music hit. Neville comes to the ring with a slightly bushier beard than usual. And he enters the ring and starts beating the holy piss out of Rick Swan. No point in going over specific moves because there was no one specific move. He just battered him. He battered the fuck out of Rick Swan. He battered the fuck out of TJ Perkins. He beat them down and left them in the ring. So Neville has not only returned, Neville is now a heel. So that'll be fun to watch on 205 Live if you actually watch it. I don't. Next up, we have the Divas Iron Man match between Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks. And yes, now we have to call her Charlotte Flair because that's her new wrestling name, it seems. Anyway, this match was a 30-minute Iron Man, or Iron Woman, if you will, match. And in it, most of the match didn't matter, honestly, because for the first 20 minutes, no falls really happened. It was just near fall after near fall after near fall. Sasha Banks kicked out of a natural selection. Charlotte got out of a submission move that I honestly felt should have been one of the falls. It just went on for a while. and it was so long that it's honestly hard to just go through spots. So I'm just going to go through every fall. The first fall came when Charlotte hit a natural selection from the top rope. They were both in the corner. Charlotte was up on the actual post top where you normally dive off of, and Sasha was in the corner in between her legs, and just natural selection, 1, 2, 3. First fall went to Charlotte. The second fall came when Charlotte went for a figure 4 and ends up getting rolled up by Sasha Banks. The third fall came from Sasha managing to lock in the bank statement. As Charlotte went to get to the rope, Sasha then rolls the bank statement to bring Charlotte back into the center ring and twerks the bank statement to an unnatural degree, and Charlotte taps out. With Sasha on the defensive in like 5 minutes, or was it 3? One of those two left. The match goes on for a bit. Sasha ends up in the corner, and Charlotte just jumps on, and Sasha ends up in the corner. She goes to kick Charlotte. Charlotte knocks her leg over into the rope and just jumps down on her leg, essentially snapping Sasha's knee. After that, Charlotte spent like the next, it was from the 5-minute mark, for like next 4 minutes, Charlotte's just beating down on Sasha's leg, slamming as the post, kneeing it over and over again, twerking it, twerking. She dances with her ass against the leg. No, she decimates Sasha's leg, and then as it's nearing the final, like near the end of the last minute, she finally locks in the figure 4, and it takes a while for her to actually lock in the bridge because Sasha's fighting it, but she gets the bridge in around the 10-second mark. And as it reaches the 2-second mark, Sasha Banks can't hold on anymore, and she taps out, tying it at 2-2. With everything tied up, they find themselves in yet another. They find themselves in a situation where it's tied up. The ref decides, overtime, next fall wins. So they go at it again, and this is the part where I got really exhausted and started falling asleep. So I can't really describe this section to you. All I know is that it ends with Charlotte Flair getting the bank statement in one more time, and Sasha Banks having to tap out. Charlotte Flair is your new women's champion. And a random fun fact that was revealed after Charlotte won the match, apparently Charlotte's actually now 16-0 at pay-per-views. So Charlotte has yet to be defeated at a pay-per-view. We always got angry about the whole Sasha wins every Raw, Charlotte wins every pay-per-view thing. But there is a reason for it. Charlotte's kind of a big deal because she's yet to be defeated at pay-per-views. Whoever defeats her at a pay-per-view, it's kind of like a miniature version of ending the streak. You're ending her pay-per-view streak, so that's something that we can keep in mind if we so wish. Now that I think about it, does she even lose her NXT title at an NXT takeover? I honestly don't know. I also don't even know who took her title from her. I'm going to assume Sasha Banks. That aside, now we move on to the main event. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. The match starts off with Kevin Owens running like a little bitch, and then Roman Reigns finally catches him and beats the piss out of him. Spots. Roman Reigns Superman punches Kevin Owens while he's on the top rope, and then goes for a superplex, which is reversed into Kevin Owens' little superplex Falcon arrow to the neck type deal. I don't know what to call that move of Kevin's, but he hits that on Owens. Not on Owens, on Reigns. Oh god, I'm turning into Michael Cole! There is a spot where Kevin Owens is about to get speared, but he rolls out the ring, only to get drive-by kicked and tossed back into the ring, where he rolls out again. Roman Reigns once again goes to drive-by kick him, but Kevin Owens dodges immediately, and then super kicks the life out of Roman Reigns. Afterwards, Roman Reigns falls out the ring. Roman Reigns falls out the ring, Roman Reigns gets up, only to be super kicked again, this time falling onto the table. Kevin Owens goes into the ring, gets out, climbs up onto the barricade, and frog splashes down on the announce table prone Roman Reigns. The table doesn't budge. He goes back up to the barricade, and once again frog splashes Roman Reigns, this time completely through the table. Kevin Owens crawls into the ring. The ref finally starts to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Roman makes it in, unsurprisingly. And one more frog splash for good measure. 1, 2, kick out. Some more brawling happens. At one point, Kevin Owens reversals the Superman punch into a Rocky-style ducking arm trap DDT thing. Some more fighting ensues. Roman Reigns runs at Kevin Owens, only to be pop-up powerbombed. 1, 2. Roman gets his foot on the bottom rope. Some more brawling. Spear out of nowhere. Roman Reigns has speared Kevin Owens down, but Roman doesn't go for the pin. Roman's exhausted, and Roman just knocked out next to Kevin Owens. And then the crowd erupts as as Chris Jericho comes out. Chris Jericho standing in the middle of the ring now, staring at Roman Reigns, staring at Kevin Owens. He's thinking. What's he gonna do? He turns to look at Roman Reigns. Kevin Owens gets up. Chris turns around. Code breaker to Kevin Owens. Roman Reigns is now disqualified. Your winner, and still WWE Universal Champion, Kevin Owens. Chris Jericho then turns to stare at Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens finally comes back to his senses as Chris Jericho is holding the title. Chris Jericho stares down at Owens. Owens stares up at Jericho. Chris Jericho hands Owens his title. He smiles, and he helps Owens back up to his feet. They hug. The bromance, the best friends are back. Celebration's cut short, though, as Seth Rollins' music starts to play. Kevin and Chris then roll out of the ring. And as Seth comes at them, Kevin goes to run, only to be speared by Roman Reigns. Chris Jericho runs into the ring, only to be cut off by and pedigreed by Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins decide they're done with this shit, toss Jericho out of the ring. And after sitting up the table, hoorah! Not triple powerbomb, more of a double powerbomb for the announce table. With Jericho out of commission, they turn around to see Kevin Owens literally limping up the ramp. As Kevin Owens is about to get into the back, Seth Rollins cuts him off, punches him down, slamming him into the wall, starts fighting him, and then Kevin Owens manages to push Seth Rollins away, only for Roman Reigns to take him down. They start beating him up, knocking him over to the announce table where Michael Cole and the others are. For those of you wondering, wait, another announce table? What? I forgot this too. There's actually a free announce table set up for Raw. One up top at the ramp, and 2 at ringside. So the 2 at ringside are destroyed, not the one at the ramp. The announcers all evacuate. Roman Reigns clears the table and Seth Rollins knocks over the chairs and dusts off some of the papers. Hoorah! Hoist him up, double powerbomb Kevin Owens through a table. Kevin then rolls over and falls into the little mini pit thing. So with that, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns end off the night having decimated Jericho, and Roman Reigns holds his United States Championship up high. That was it for the end of the Roadblock End of the Road pay-per-view, and it was a pretty good show. I didn't care for the Seth Rollins versus Chris Jericho match, nor the Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns matches, because they were so obvious it was horrible. But, it was still fun. The tag match, I really marked out during that match. I've never been that interested in a tag match before, and the amount of false finishes really helped it out a bit. The cruiserweights put on a decent show. It was nothing magnificent, but it was good. It was a good enough showing. Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman was stupid. They're trying to tell a story. He's trying to show how perseverant Sami Zayn was, and I mean, yeah, they did their job right, but there was like a minute of Mick Foley talking to Sami and Braun. It was obviously done for story reasons, but the fans weren't into it. My brother was watching this match with me. He wasn't into it. He found it stupid, and although I see why they were doing it, in the end, it really was dumb, and that really was a waste of the match. It just feels like an undeserved win for Sami. Just, The women's match. You did not need to wait that long for a fall. That was ridiculous. That aside, the match was still pretty decent. It was an enjoyable match, pretty back and forth. I can't comment on the overtime because again I was falling asleep during it. But during the actual match, it was a good match from until I started, exhaustion hit. Kevin versus Roman, although I wasn't interested because of how obvious it was, they did a damn good job of making me become interested. Kevin Owens reversing the Superman punch. That spot where Kevin Owens just seamlessly dodged the drive by into a super kick. That frog splash for the table. It was a good match. Even though it was obvious Roman wasn't going to lose clean. It was still a damn good match. The pay-per-view overall, it was a pretty decent pay-per-view. Yeah, it had two really obvious matches on it. And yeah, Sami versus Braun could have been done better. But honestly, overall, it was a decent pay-per-view. It's definitely worth the watch. Not much else to say because I really need to stop rating these things. I'm not a reviewer. But that's it. That's the pay-per-view. Hope you guys enjoyed the recap. I'll see you guys next time for Royal Rumble. Yeah, I believe the Royal Rumble is the next pay-per-view. So, I'll see you guys then. Enjoy your Christmas. Still don't know if I'm going to make a Christmas video or not. Deuces, YouTube.